Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bullhucker podcast. I'm Moose Lunston.
And I'm Matt Gordon.
Where are we at, Matt?
We're at the Brush Emporium. Oh, I just yelled again. I just ruined it. We're at the Brush Emporium in downtown Brush.
We are. It's actually kind of fun. We actually got in our little corner now. They're starting to build, starting to section things off in here. They're starting to make things shake and groove.
Yeah, they laid bricks for us.
They did.
Look how many.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So far, so good.
And they planted ivy. I think that's what that is.
That is ivy.
Chino plants.
Look at you, educated.
Yay.
We have a guest today.
We do have a guest. Do we ever not have a guest?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never been on that one.
Yeah, the best of episodes.
Oh, that does count.
Well,
we're the guests in that one.
Boom.
Did you say boom?
I said boom. Prove my point.
What in the world?
Madeline Hagen, how are you?
Madeline Hagen.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for coming in, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you because we're going to talk a little later about what something you got going on. You have a holistic fair coming to town.
Yes, that's correct.
That's awesome. It's going to be at the After Hours.
It'll be at the Block, which is where After Hours is located.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Old Country Stakeout for all you old people. So we're going to get to a little more into that here in a little bit because you got some stories too.
I do.
All right. Is this your first podcast? You ever been on a podcast?
Not like a professional one like you guys.
Let's not say.
I was just about to say she
throw
has
that
no
word out.
idea
Let's not
what's
throw that
happening.
word out at all. So
Professional.
Oh gosh.
you have a card here you gave us. And by the way, as you're listening to this, Madeline's stuff's going to be on the links below in the description below.
Look how well he sells your business, right?
Well,
It's going to be somewhere around on the YouTube page in a direction.
Yeah. Just kind of point and blink and
For you old people, that's called a computer.
Yeah. It's you asked a question. You asked a question earlier. What was it?
Oh, okay. So, well, first and foremost, let's talk about Madeline Hagen is the owner of Holistic Home and Health.
Right. They
provide a variety of services that are luckily on the back of this card that I could read, but they include things like tarot readings, psychic medium readings. I can't pronounce that word. Akashic.
Yes.
Ooh, almost got it. Hooked on phonics. Medical intuitive readings, past life readings, astrology readings, spiritual counseling, and she's an integrative health and a Reiki practitioner. What is Reiki?
Can I give it a shot?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's hear it.
Let's see how
Instead of
wrong I
having
am.
the literal professional talk about it, let's have the podcaster talk about
Well,
it.
so what? Yeah. Well, I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing to see because I found this word a while ago.
Okay.
When we were doing the Halloween episode of the Bullhucker, Christina and I talking about Ouija boards and opening up portals.
Oh, okay.
So I looked up how to close a portal, and then you have to use Reiki. Like it's a positive energy, right? Am I totally wrong?
So a few things going on here.
Okay.
Off the rails immediately.
So
She was like, "No, you couldn't be more wrong,
Yeah,
you chunky
seriously.
bastard."
okay, so yes, Ouija boards can open and can be used to close portals technically. They should be used with caution. I will never use one personally or professionally, and I would caution against anyone using them without a lot of experience
Interesting.
and background. Reiki is a form of positive energy. I wouldn't necessarily use it to close a portal because with the portal, it's going to depend on a lot of different factors. So you can use aspects of Reiki to close it, but Reiki is more about healing energy. So it's a form of energy healing that originates from Japan. The Buddhist monks used it thousands of years ago, and it found its way over to America in the 1940s or 50s. And then that's when it was picked up and it was capitalized. And so it just happened to become the most popular form of energy healing in America, just because of the natural course of events throughout history.
Interesting.
But if you look at every indigenous culture, they each have their own form of like energy healing or, traditional or folklore medicine. So a lot of different cultures will have their own version of like an energy healing like Reiki. And Reiki healing is essentially a way of channeling down energy from a higher source. That's how the Buddhist monks viewed it. And that's how it's taught nowadays is you tap into like a higher energy, like a universal energy. And there's a lot of different names for this, throughout different cultures. Some people call it prana, and especially in Ayurvedic cultures. And so you basically tap into like this higher healing or universal life force energy, and people are able to channel it through to the person to provide healing through, the use of different symbols, placement on the hands or above the body, things like that. So it's a form of healing. It's really used well in a lot of elderly people or people who have like chronic conditions, especially cancer patients. And it's been actually proven to help with their condition and to, relieve pain, relieve inflammation, and a lot of other things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Your definition is a little better than mine.
Yeah, it's like you open a portal and a Ouija board and you feel good about it. And it's like, wow,
The
you could not have
description I
missed that so
found
hard.
was you have to get a pendulum over the portal or whatever.
It's all this
And
stuff.
then I was looking at it for the Halloween episode. But that's where I came across the word originally, that it was like a positive energy. But that's interesting. It's going to be fun here. So you and I don't know. We just met.
Yes.
And you two know each other from the park thing. What did you do?
The park thing.
Yeah, the park thing.
The park thing.
Do I look like
The
Chipper?
event that I work really hard on every year to support a variety of businesses and vendors. The park thing.
Are you and I dating? Do I need to know everything about you?
I love how he
to
led
support
with
you?
"we are in love with each other," and it's turned into "are we even dating?" Do you have any of this on right? Do you screw it on right before we start, or you just make it all up
I
as
don't
we
screw
go?
anything. All right, pal?
It's called the People's Market.
That's what
the park thingy. Yep.
Because you're doing this down there every
Yes.
summer. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, but we don't know each other, so this is fun for me because you're a blank slate to me. I don't know anything about you, none of your tells, and we get to learn stuff today. It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
I don't know anything about any of this.
No,
stuff,
it's super interesting, man.
This is going to be where I fall into like a 3 a.m. Wikipedia binge to
Oh,
learn
goodness.
about all this stuff
Yes, it
because
is.
I'm very fascinated.
because we have you and Megan Orcutt actually in the next episode too. They're both going to talk about this because you guys are in cahoots with this stuff, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
What? Yep, that's good.
anyway,
Yeah, hurry up.
If you're
Hurry
new to the
up, Cahoots.
podcast, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast.
Welcome to the Cahoots podcast.
We're gonna describe people for they're new, you prick. So, welcome to the Bullhucker podcast. What this is a podcast. We bring on guests on today. We have Madeline Hagen. Madeline's going to tell us 3 stories about her life. Now, here's the kicker: only 2 of these stories are true. One is either borrowed, all the way made up, or partially made up. Now, Megan, without going into great detail, which one is it? No, is it borrowed, made up, or partially made up? The Bullhucker. Don't tell us which one it is.
It's partially made up.
Okay, that's the most popular way. That's tough though.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I used to think I was a good lie detector, but I can't detect him anymore. So I
He
don't
was
know.
awesome when we first started this. He was like 10-0.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened.
I started trusting people too much.
People started making fun of your little farm market or whatever, and you get all sad.
The park thingy.
The park thingy. That's what I
Yeah.
call it. When I go drive,
No,
they're
I
doing
remember
the
that.
park thingy. That's
Aren't
what
you
I
doing
call
that
it.
little recording thingy?
That's all we're doing. If you ask Madeline, it's a professional podcast.
It is
Thank you very
actually.
much.
Thank you for that. That felt really good. Isn't
Of
that
course,
great?
yeah.
That's professional. This
So-
is professional.
We are going to dive into this after the stories, though. So I am interested to learn about this. This is going to be
Absolutely.
kind of cool. So, okay, are you ready to tell some stories?
I am.
All right, let's
Great.
do this. Matt, you want to read them off?
I do. We have the Colorado Hotel, Foraging Flowers, and the Fall Holistic Fair.
Okay, you know what? You haven't been here for a while, so why don't you go and pick one out?
I want to hear Foraging Flowers.
All right.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, so this happened almost 2 years ago because we're coming up on summer, spring right now. So I was taking a class on foraging and identifying plants in the wild. So I was up in the mountains and I was hiking for a few days, with my fellow students and teacher. And we were up on this hilltop and I was actually foraging for OSHA. And OSHA is a really great herb for immune support. So like if you start getting sick, it's really good to start using it as soon as you start feeling sick.
What is it again?
OSHA.
Okay.
OSHA root.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's actually within the poison hemlock family, and it's actually easily distinguishable from it. But if you confuse the two, then obviously you might be poisoned with poison hemlock, and that's not good at all.
Poison bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was up on this mountain foraging, and like the teacher was instructing all the students, how to pick it and everything, and how to forage ethically, of course, and with respect to nature and to other people. And so with it being a root in the ground, we had to really dig into the dirt, and then we had to do a different test too to distinguish between it and poison hemlock, because the OSHA root will smell like butterscotch and poison hemlock doesn't.
Interesting.
Yes. Yes. So
Looked at 2 chubby guys and said butterscotch. And we're like, yeah, definitely into that route.
Yes. Smells like your grandmother's house.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm in.
Okay.
Werther's.
yeah, so I was digging in it and like I was trying to get the root out of the ground, and I fell backwards down this mountain. I ended up spraining my ankle, and then I had to hike back down and everything. And it was not a fun experience, but it was definitely a learning experience for me to be more aware of my surroundings.
Were you with anybody?
Yeah, I was with the students and the teacher.
So, okay. I know she said. I'm just okay.
I'm just saying, if you're critically listening, foraging for flowers was the story name. What were the flowers? Where were flowers at?
So we foraged a lot of different plants throughout the class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we picked up different flowers and different things like that.
Yeah. What do you, and maybe this is going to tie in a bit with this later, but I'm interested in relation to the story. You forage for these different plants and flowers and such. What do you do with them?
Yeah, so for a lot of the things that I forage for, I don't ever harvest enough to really use in the apothecary products that I make. So, and it's also hard to like properly dry everything and store everything. So I use it for my personal use, like my own personal apothecary cabinet.
Oh, cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is there like a, I don't want to say this, so to like sell it or to deal in it, do you have to have any kind of, what's the word?
Oh, like a license or something like that?
Yeah.
Permission or something?
Yeah.
Is there like standards you have to follow or any?
Yes. So within the U.S., and it's different in each country,
Okay.
because like Europe has very different standards. But within the U.S., the laws around herbalism and making and selling products are pretty laissez-faire. They're pretty relaxed.
Okay.
If I were to get into like manufacturing like officially, then I would have to have more standards. But like even if you go to a health food store now, or like even if you go like to a basic grocery store or pharmacy and get like a supplement, there's different laws in the US about identification of supplements, of herbal remedies, of things like that. And it's not really heavily enforced. Now there is legislation currently in the works. There's a Senate bill that it's been introduced, but it hasn't been passed yet, that is going to make small herbalists like myself, or small time producers, small businesses, it's going to make it more difficult for them to produce apothecary or herbal remedies. So it's really important for people who are involved in natural medicine or natural healing modalities to stay aware of these things, because there are some laws about it. And I know like a few years ago, Etsy took down quite a few shops because they were selling similar products, herbal remedies, apothecary items. So it's really at the discretion of the practitioner.
Interesting.
With the current laws.
Okay.
Was there a name of the group? Like the teachers and students? Is it like a class, or like what was the name of everything?
So I actually took it through Red Rocks Community College, and that's how I got my integrative health and Reiki certifications.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What brought you to all this to begin with?
That's a great question.
Yeah. So I've always been really interested in like the natural lifestyle, natural living. I think that there's kind of two sides to this story though, because within my business and within myself, there's like the focus on the herbalism, the apothecary aspects, the traditional medicine, and there's the very spiritual side of myself and my business. So I'll kind of share both aspects. So growing up, like I suffered with a lot of sinus issues and allergies, just like constant reoccurring issues. Like I was out of school constantly, like I became antibiotic resistant and everything. So I was really drawn to, alternative remedies to actually find healing for myself. And I know my family struggles a lot with autoimmune and skin conditions too. So like it all kind of came together because Western medicine really doesn't treat autoimmune conditions well, unfortunately. So I really went down this path of trying to learn more and exposing myself to different situations. So that's when I started really studying different religions in the world. And that's when I came across like Buddhism and Taoism and Confucianism, which are the main three Eastern religions. And that's where I went into studying traditional Chinese medicine, and I learned more about meditation. And then from there, I went to Reiki because Reiki originates from Japan. And I got really into like energy healing and herbalism and just all these natural products and everything. And it started accumulating and growing, with each moment, each year. And I really got into it and to learning it. And so I've always been really drawn to holistic wellness and trying to, make products that are going to be good for myself, good for the environment, because I'm, very conscious about the environment too and sustainability. And so that's what really led me to developing this business. Is I started out with more making the apothecary products and the services because I want people to find healing. I want people to have another outlet instead of like, taking a pill or, having to deal with, certain side effects or whatnot. Let
me ask you this question. I'm going to pause here for a second. Because if you want me to cut this out, I will. But it's a question. So I hear more and more about all the time, right? It's becoming bigger and bigger all the time. You said there's legislation going through on it. Do you think Big Pharma comes after you? They're trying to squeeze you guys a little bit? Maybe you're taking a little from them?
So not myself personally.
Okay.
I haven't had any experiences like that.
Well, but I mean, as a whole, do you think Big Pharma looks at you like almost not as, we'll say, a threat? I mean,
As a
Yes.
redheaded stepchild?
yeah.
Yes, I think you're totally spot on, and especially with that description. And it's actually interesting if you look at the history of modern medicine and traditional medicine and how much modern medicine took from traditional medicine and how proper credit wasn't given. And, this story plays out throughout history in so many different aspects and regards, so many different topics. And I think that it's something that a lot of traditional practitioners or, herbalists, just anyone who's practicing a complementary modality needs to stay really aware of. And it's something that, I'm really in tune with. And then also within that note, different states have different laws on what complementary services can be practiced, if you have to have certain certifications, if you have to be registered, etc. And I really think that we are kind of reaching a point in our collective consciousness and just, in our world where a lot of people are seeking alternative remedies. They're seeking a more natural way. And I think that Big Pharma is becoming more and more aware of that. And I personally myself have seen a lot more campaigns pushing Big Pharma. And I also think that, if you follow the money, that's going to tell you the whole story about everything.
Sure.
Agreed.
I do agree, because I mean, it's getting outright ridiculous nowadays. Even legislation with like insulin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. They bought that patent for what, $1? You know what
Well,
I mean?
and then don't forget that the U.S. government will subsidize the development of the drugs and then charge taxpayers a full price for the drug as if we didn't help with the development of the drug in the first place.
So this is great, man.
Take that, Big Pharma. Bullhucker's coming after you
They shut us down. It's all Matt.
on this professional podcast.
What do you think about that story, man?
Everything she said was a lie. I believe it wholeheartedly. I'm sensing it. She's actually super into pharmaceuticals, and I'm almost positive she is a shill for Big Pharma, and I'm a little nervous. So all of that was, I don't know what to make of that.
Okay.
That was, wow. He can't even give me a fucking pity laugh.
I mean,
my
I
goodness.
stared at you and I thought that I don't know what to say about
That
that.
was a joke? Oh, my goodness. No, I'm intrigued.
I don't think it was a
intrigued.
joke. I think this
It wasn't
guy's
a joke.
on to you. I think he's a horrible human being.
Wait, but you don't know that, because what if this is the lie? All right, don't you start. That's possible.
Do me a favor. Next time you see him at the park thing, don't even talk to him.
The park thing.
Give him the old bird.
park
Flip
thing.
him off.
You're like, hey, that little recording thing you did, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
No, I actually, more than anything, because I'm not steeped in this industry. I don't know enough about it to even be
Yes,
dangerous. It's
yes,
fascinating
it
to
is.
hear about it from someone who is fully involved.
Right.
And then, like, since I've never really tried anything like that before, number one, I'm intrigued. Like, give this stuff a shot. Like, oh, God, this is not even remotely, well, it's tangentially related. I've never been much of a horoscope guy, but my cousin is very much, she follows a lot of these things and signed me up for a horoscope that I get in emails every single day. And of course I read it because I love my cousin. Shout out, Melissa. I love your horoscopes. But what I'm finding is an uncanny ability for these things that I would not have given credence to at like beforehand, to just this one little step was like, man, that's, holy shit, did that just describe my day to a T?
Yeah,
like
that's
is it, how the hell is Jupiter making me want to eat McDonald's today? And yeah, I did it. I'm like, that's weird. And so I have a different newfound respect for these types of things, where I think I would have been more skeptic back in the day.
I have a friend who palm reading. Is palm reading one of these or no?
I don't practice palmistry.
Okay. Do you believe in it?
Palmistry. That's fast. I never heard it.
I have a friend whose mom used to do it very well, and weird enough, she passed, and they think that she read her own palm because she wasn't really sick, but yet she had everything planned out for her funeral.
She just knew.
Yeah, she just knew it was her time. It was, so that made me a believer, man. And she used to read our palms in high school. Nothing like lifeline part of it, but just basic, like little fun stuff.
I have such a great joke. Can I do it? Let me see your palm.
Is it better than the last one?
Yeah, it's way better.
We called her a big shill from the.
I didn't call her a big shell. I was joking. Yeah. Oh, yep, beast fat.
I'm going to slap you with that same palm. All right. You ready for another story, Madeline?
I am.
He's such a piece of shit. I hate him.
I'm just teasing. Come
There's
on,
one
man.
I always like. The one I always want to hear, I save for the last. So
Always.
Let's do the Colorado. Is it the hotel?
Yes.
All right. Colorado Hotel.
Okay, so this happened when I was pretty young, around 10, I'd like to say. Definitely not my first or last experience with the paranormal, though.
Oh, I love it already. You really touched my soul. I love this. I love the paranormal shit.
I'm
All
in.
right, let's do
I'm
it.
locked
Yes.
in. I'm in.
Definitely. So I was at the Colorado Hotel with my family. We were vacationing, and I'm pretty sure that's the correct name. I really, really hope so.
Where's it at?
Yeah, where?
I think it's in Glenwood Springs.
Hotel
Yes.
Colorado.
Hotel
Yes,
Colorado.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I've ghost hunted there, so yes, I
Oh,
would love to talk
awesome.
about this.
Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was in our room by myself. And like I think I was getting ready like to go down for dinner or something, or they were waiting for me. And all of these lights started flashing in the room.
Awesome.
Yes.
And I felt something because even growing up, like I would have a lot of experiences and I would feel things. And I was just like, nope, go away. Now is not the time. And then the lights went away, and like that presence that I felt just totally went away. And I didn't have any more experiences that trip because I made it really clear. I was like really young, and I think it was funny how I came off like I was kind of grumpy or something or cranky, and I was like, now is not the time.
Listen here, ghost.
Yeah.
Chill out, all right?
Not
Exactly.
today.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
Interesting.
I've actually heard about this hotel before.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
shown
yeah.
up on a lot of the paranormal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch those shows on like the Travel Channel? Like the,
They're so wool.
I love
So I do a little. I do think, especially from my perspective, having abilities and being very in tune, I think a lot of them are false, or they don't respect the dead, which is something I have a big issue with. Like
Sure.
ghost
Okay.
hunters or ghost adventurers, I think. Like
Right.
where they're antagonizing them, I'm
Right.
like, okay, you don't do that.
them. Right.
Why not?
Ooh,
It's a question because I come at this from a
Yeah.
skeptic attitude, and I don't want to say antagonization, but this notion of provoking an interaction. And it not that it. I mean, I don't have like a scientific study I can put in me
'Cause
like
that's
it
what
works
he
at a
does.
percentage, but that's exactly what I do to try and elicit responses. And we do get some interesting things occasionally, but it's not with the intention of. I don't want to say we're going to be like threatening, but bringing up controversial information or challenging them for something they did back in the day. If you look into their histories and if you identify a person who's been in
Yeah.
there or potentially died in there, saying something about that and causing them to come out. I mean, I would almost compare it to real life. Most people don't go to a restaurant and then compliment the chef when the meal's amazing. They freak out when the meal sucks, and you create that response.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the ghost do that?
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think there's a really fine line between interacting and being like, hey, like you were a bad person in life. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Versus like provoking. And there's a lot of reasons why you may not want to do that. I think definitely, if you're someone who's looking at it through more of a skeptical attitude, then that interaction is okay. And obviously for a lot of the viewers, that they're going to be skeptics
Right.
probably. So, having something thrown across the room or hearing something is going to probably change people's minds.
Yes.
Right.
But for myself, when it's like, I'm able to see and interact with these beings, like I treat them the same like I do a living being.
Fascinating.
So it's, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but also I know the spiritual and energetic liabilities on the other side. And like, I don't want to mess with things. I don't want to be attacked. I don't want things happening to me.
Sure.
But also I think it's just a basic respect thing because of, my understanding and my experiences.
Interesting.
I agree with you. I don't like the ghost hunter part. I like the ones caught on the paranormal caught on video.
Yeah.
Those I loved. I can't get enough of those. And the ones that tell the stories, like to go into the background of the building or whatever. I love it. It's a guilty pleasure. But I also would never stay in one or go hunting them because I believe they can attach to you and follow you home.
Yes.
So I'd rather not have that. So I used to be quite the drinker, and maybe I've been in a haunted house before, and I just woke up and they broke something. I thought it was me. You know what I mean? You just can't tell. Like, was I
Sure.
hammered last night? Is that me or is that the ghost? So anyway, that's a great story. Kudos for being a paranormal.
Yeah, no, hey, you definitely tickled the both of us because we
Yeah.
love that stuff. So many, what?
We did the 100th episode, just came out this last week, and I was telling them the story that you had about the 3 a.m. the light over here.
Have you heard this? I don't know if we.
No, I haven't.
So my family, we actually do amateur paranormal investigation. My dad is pretty in tune. My mom's more in tune. And I'm the pure skeptic of the group. So I think we get a good wide range of opinions when we go out and experience things. We actually ghost hunted the sands. This was back when I was an intern, and set up a variety of static cameras throughout the building. Walked around with like recorders for EVPs. We had an EMF detector to try and come up with some level of electromagnetic fields within the building itself. But we didn't catch anything except for one bit of information. And I'm never going to jump until I have your experience of interacting with an entity or something like that. I can't jump to ghost because I've never experienced that. But we did run into something peculiar that I would argue is relatively unexplainable. And we have video of it. About 1:30 in the morning, we have a camera pointed behind the stage towards one of the exit hallways that goes outside to the back of the stands. You hear click, the old push button lights, click, click, and a light goes on and a light goes off. That in itself, anything could have done that. The kicker was there was no light bulb in the fixture, and the fixture wasn't hooked up to the electrical. We had an electrician come in and verify it the next day. Peculiar. I can't say I didn't see an entity interact with it, but of all the things that we recorded that night and reviewing, it was the only one where at the end of it, I was like, huh, I don't know what that was. We haven't been able to replicate it. I've never seen that same thing happen again. But so many people have reported having some level of interaction in that place, whether it's hearing voices, people walking around, shuffling upstairs, talking during movies from behind the stage, that we wanted to try and capture some of that. And I would say that I would love to go back and do it again, because I think after hearing more of the stories, there's a lot more to discover over there. But to have somebody who has more of the, I don't know what to call it, like the paranormal connection versus a quasi-skeptic and two people who are just interested in the field but haven't had those level of experiences. Wouldn't want to use somebody as a conduit, but man, if it got something on video, I would definitely be open to that, because then you could get some more substantial evidence, and to the point of showing people more of that aspect of life rather than just being materialistic. That's something I love about doing what we do, is trying to discover things. But it was peculiar, to say the least. Definitely.
Yeah, it sounds like what you experienced there, what was caught there, was residual energy. And for the most part, I would say at least like 50% of paranormal activity, it's residual activity.
Sure.
And that's just like people are just playing out what they were doing in life.
Yeah.
So it's probably someone who is like, they were an employee there or something, or they owned that, or they had some connection to it, and they're like, oh, I'm just turning on the lights, like,
right.
That would be so I wish I could have seen, obviously not Joe, but like maybe the Emerson folks who were running that before, and just see him live that through. I'm gonna go on deep for a second. Okay, perfect. This is probably a terrible, because there's no substantial evidence for this type of theory, but like say multiverse, and that for some reason their timelines don't match our timelines, and so somehow, some way, our planes cross, but it just happens to be that we're so similar in terms of the universes that their light switch, their habits and everything were the exact same thing, that somebody from another universe is pressing that button and it's happening in ours at the same time. Have you ever heard anything like that?
Yes.
Mandela effect, right? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not
That's
exactly.
Not quite it.
Well,
yeah.
but I mean, it's where two universes collide with each other.
Interact
right?
and change something within that universe.
I'm sorry, go ahead. You were going to speak.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's all good. The Mandela effect is, a little bit different, but it kind of follows some similar framework. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. And that actually reminds me a lot of that show, The OA. Have you seen it? Yes.
And so when I am like trying to analyze something paranormal, because I come from a more scientific mind, I'm like, what could explain why this would happen? That has, I don't want to use the word reasonable, but like that could have reproducible results with some level of evidence. And I mean, there's so many physics and mathematics works on multiversal theories. Like why wouldn't that be possible? And it just happens to be we hit an intersection, and what a random thing to be a light switch, but why couldn't that happen? And then the more substantial things, like you seeing an entity, that entity is just an intersection of two, not dimensions, like universes, and you just happen to see them for that moment and then they're gone. I don't know. I've always thought that was fascinating, but obviously it's such a widespread field of study with not a lot of reproducible results and so many personal experiences that it's hard to build like this is a theory of how this happens. But I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
I want to ask you a question. So would you say you're sensitive to this, you claim, right?
Yes.
Majority of people in this world are not.
Right.
Correct?
So I would actually disagree with that.
Okay.
I think a lot of people, especially women, are a lot more sensitive to these things, because if we're looking at it, energy is just energy. We're all comprised of energy. But I think that women are a lot more sensitive to that and just like emotions in general. And I view emotions as energy in motion. And so I think that a lot of people actually have these abilities, and especially like as a kid, I think that people would say that they have more experiences, but then I think it's like society kind of shuts people down or makes people think that they're crazy, or like, that you can't do this, or like, just to not really participate in it anymore.
Okay, let me ask you this then. So I'm going to ask you, when did you realize that had this awareness? You know, and most people, they may have the ability to have the awareness, but they don't have the awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Yes, that's more what I believe.
Okay. But when did you know that you had this awareness and it's not something that's common amongst people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always had experiences from a young age. I would say probably 4 or 5 is my earliest memory.
Right. But was it kind of a weird thing for you when you realized that when you're explaining this to people, they can't relate to you?
Yes, yes. And that happened a lot, I think, during my childhood and just growing up. And I always had a sense of knowing that I was a little bit different because like I would know things before they would happen, or I would be able to, know how someone is feeling, or, like be able to predict things or something, or be like, oh yeah, I knew that was going to happen. And it was just kind of like these weird little synchronicities and everything. And then on top of that, being able to see and to interact with, different beings on the other side. I knew I was different. So I just shut it down. And I don't think I really started opening up again until like my late teenage years.
Okay. That's crazy.
A question that always arises with precognitive abilities, and I love asking this. So we can cut this part out if you don't like it, but have you ever used your precognitive abilities for nefarious reasons?
If I'm being honest, I will say yes.
Interesting.
I think it's
knowing what's going to happen and then be like, I'm going to make this happen because I know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Right.
A little bit. Oh, so you're referencing the clairvoyance, not all of the abilities.
Right. The ability to see and potentially, like, I don't know what you used, predict or precognition or something along the lines of like seeing what could happen next.
Yeah, that's either clairvoyance, so clear seeing, which is also what people will describe, like when you can see, a ghost or a person, then that's, someone who's clairvoyant. But it's the clairsentience, that's knowing before, no, not clairsentience, claircognition, that's knowing beforehand. And yeah, I think that, so I have a lot of different abilities, but I think that for the claircognition, it's not something I've necessarily used to, like, for bad reasons.
Sure.
I've just kind of let things play out in life. Like if I knew someone was going to be hurt badly, then I would definitely interfere.
Oh, okay.
But that's never come up for me.
Interesting.
But like for other things, yes, I definitely have like
Susie's going to get that promotion. I know this. So now I'm going to torpedo her career and go get the promotion.
Oh my goodness. No, I've never done anything like that. It's more like kind of knowing like how someone feels and just like being very cognizant and aware of it. I think the ways that I have done it, like in a bad way, has been more of like a reactive or defense mechanism.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, does that make sense?
It does. It does. Well, in protecting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's morally right, though, if someone's going to get hurt, to warn them. I mean, it sucks. You should warn them. But if I'm of the thought process, if that's going to happen, that's what's supposed to happen.
Larry's going to let you die, guys. Just let that be known. He would let you die if he knew you were going to die.
But don't you think that, I mean, everything happens for a reason.
What's the point of the reason of me having the ability to see the future then?
Are you supposed to have that ability?
Well, if I have it, it happened for a reason, right? So I have the ability to see the future.
Okay, we're going to go down a dark hole here.
I like it. I mean, Larry loves the dark holes, but I think more than anything... Sorry, that's so good.
I really do.
He does. But the peculiar bit about it to me is when you have an ability and we're saying, oh, should I not have this ability? You already do.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason right there. I have this ability. Now, I guess with great power comes great responsibility, I suppose.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Yep. But that aspect of it is, when do you choose to jump in and intervene? That's a fascinating idea. You know what I mean?
It's interesting how you said as kids you have it. And, I have a friend, her daughter, we'll call her Kim, the daughter. She's here, smart kid, so smart. When she was little, she'd have conversations with people, and stuff like this. She predicted her little sister's, having a little sister. She told her mom one day about the baby. And my friend's like, what baby? You're going to have a baby. You're pregnant. And she's like, no, I'm not. Sure enough, like 2 weeks later, she was pregnant. A year and a half later, her friend, same thing. Kim told her friend, like, you're going to have a baby. It's coming.
Wow.
A couple weeks later, sure enough, she turned up pregnant. So I don't know. It's crazy. So
it's just like zapping people with pregnancy.
Yeah, maybe she's roofing him. I don't know. So
keep that kid away from me.
Maybe it isn't nefarious. I don't know. So, but they told me these stories, and she's such a smart and such a good kid. You know what I mean? But I think she has those abilities. I always have.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
Yeah, you'll hear a lot of stories of kids saying things like that or making comments like, "Oh, when I was alive on World War II."
Right.
Like, or they'll just like be talking to like someone random, like an imaginary friend, but it might actually be a ghost or something.
Right. Pretty wild. What did you think about that one?
That was all also lies.
You think it's a lie?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure every
She's
single bit of
fibbing
this.
twice?
Every story is going to be a lie, and I don't know how we're going to guess it. No, I love Hotel Colorado. I've been there multiple times for different reasons, and fascinating to hear about other people's experiences there because there's so many and so variable. It's not the first time I've heard people legitimately at Hotel Colorado put a foot down and say, "Leave me alone," and then they did. So I don't know what it is about that place. Maybe it's all the guest services folks are like, "I'm sorry, I was just trying to give you a towel," But it seems to be a thing that I've heard multiple times. So that's fascinating.
Calls you a pinche puto and leaves.
Right?
Yeah, I got you.
I see what you that was racist. Oh my God.
You can be half. I can be half offended. So let's just
That's
go there.
true.
I like it. I always want when I want to be true. I want that story to be true. I'll be very upset if it's the Bullhuckers. So I love those stories. So if we have another Halloween special, I'll have to invite you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
This last Halloween, we had people come in and tell us their quick stories about the stuff they've with the supernatural. And it was pretty fun. It was a pretty good episode. So
Agreed.
A lot of people in Colorado or in Morgan County have had these crazy interactions, and I had no idea until they told me the story. So pretty cool.
It's nice to have, and I don't know if you like this phraseology, but this is such a cool safe space where everybody can share every aspect of life.
Oh, this podcast?
Yeah.
We did it last night. I almost laughingly said, people treat me and Matt like they're priests. They confess all kinds of stuff to us. We've heard some pretty wild stories.
We really have. And I love that, though. They feel comfortable enough to talk about their lives. And I always say this on the podcast every time I'm here, but that's what I love about what you do is meeting people where they are and then letting them be who they are and talking to them about it and accepting it. I love that.
Madeline, you have so many people in your life, you have no idea what they've been through. You know what I mean? There's some people in your life that if they sat down, you actually heard all their stories, you'd be like, oh my God, you know? My own mother was on this podcast and I'd have got hers wrong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
she would actually fooled me, and I've known her for 47 years now, so it's been a while. We know each other pretty well, every Christmas
Absolutely.
and whatnot. So, okay, one last, Matt.
Am I reading it?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. We have the Fall Holistic Fair.
All right.
All right. So this is actually my most recent experience on there. So this happened at the Fall Holistic Fair in September of this past year. And so there's like different holistic fairs and metaphysical fairs that are on the Front Range. So I usually, like a lot of my business is more on the Front Range. So I was traveling there. So I was doing this past life reading for this woman, and it was my last reading for the day. And so I was tapping into her and everything, and I was looking at her past lives and just like her soul's energy and everything. And the way I do it is very different, and it's gonna depend on each person how I read for them. But so for this particular woman, I was like tapping into her energy almost where like I was the one experiencing her past life. And so I felt it. I was like, okay, I was describing it to her and everything. I was like, okay, it's kind of dark. You're walking down like this city street. It looks like it's around like the 20s or 30s. And like, this is what you're wearing. And then like, I felt this man pull my shoulder back. And to me that indicated like, an assault. Unfortunately, that does happen, and I do have readings where that comes up, but that's a part of history. And so...
To be clear, there's nobody there. It's... Who's the person?
Oh, so...
You lost me.
So I was reading for this woman.
Right.
She was sitting in front of me, like across from me, like
Right.
you are right now. I'm tapping into her energy just through looking at her and through feeling her and, tapping into my abilities. And so the way I do my past life readings, or a lot of like my psychic readings where I'm going back in time, is I kind of feel like I'm the person, like in my body.
Okay, I got
So
you.
it's like I was in my body, but in her body. And so I feel myself walking down the street, but then I'm also getting some bird's eye view where I'm able to see like, this is the street I see her walking. This is what she's wearing.
Right,
and I'm
okay.
describing it and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. Sorry, I got lost.
He's back.
It's all good.
Yep, he's back. Professional podcast.
Yes.
Seriously, when you see him at the park thing, don't say hi to him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I was in her body for this part where I was like experiencing her past life like it was myself. And so my eyes are usually closed when I do a lot of these type of readings. And so I feel it, like I'm walking down the street and I feel this man pull my shoulder back, my right shoulder really roughly. And then to me that indicates, obviously with the situation going on, there was some type of assault leading into it. And then that's how she passed. Because I usually will ask for to show people how they died, because usually there's a lot of wound and trauma there that carries over into this lifetime. And so I was explaining it to her, and then she like jumped and she was startled. I hadn't touched her or anything. I never touched my clients. And she was like, oh my God, I literally felt you in my body, and I felt someone pull my shoulder back too.
Wow.
It was this crazy experience. Wow. And we were sharing like this beautiful moment and talking about it. And, I was kind of talking to her and talking about like her abilities and everything, and how, she probably has some, and that it was just a really cool experience. And I've never had quite an experience like that during a past life reading. And I thought it was such a cool moment.
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
Is that the first time something to that extreme has happened, to that extent?
During a past life reading, yes.
Okay.
But during a lot of my other services or sessions, I've had really crazy things happen to me. If you're into the paranormal, I can definitely go down a lot of rabbit holes there.
Do I have someone else?
I'm just.
That is interesting. That's did it freak you out at all? I mean, did it kind of?
It didn't freak me out so much. I think that the client was a little freaked out.
Oh, I bet.
She was like, oh my God, I literally felt you like in my body. Like I felt someone pull back. But I was just like, wow, that's a really cool experience. And I love having really cool experiences like that.
Do you have a mentor that teaches you how to do stuff like this, or does this kind of just learn and go?
So it depends with some modalities. So like with Reiki, I did have to take classes and be certified. So I had a teacher. To become an integrative health practitioner, I had a teacher. So like more the fine-tuned things, like my health and wellness coaching, things like that. Those are things I went to school for.
Okay,
cool.
With the spiritual side of things, it's really hard. There are some spiritual academies, and I have my own beliefs on those. But I've really put myself in a lot of different situations to continue growing and developing my abilities, because like I've always had a lot of them, but then as I've gotten older and as I've pushed myself to grow, then they've just kept expanding and kept expanding. So a lot of it's, like been like when I first started out with everything and I started getting into everything, I would read for friends. Like I wouldn't charge or anything. And I started doing that until I felt comfortable. And at first it was just like tarot. And then I was like, oh, wait, I need to get back into that psychic mediumship side of things. And then that's when the past life aspect really started expanding. And then in this last year, my medical intuition really started to take off too.
Interesting.
What's your favorite thing to do? Or do you have one? Let me ask you.
I think it depends on the person. My favorite thing that I do is probably going to be either the past life or the medical intuitive sessions. I think because it's harder to find someone who authentically does those too, but also just because of the opportunity for like really unique experiences with people. And also to be able to help people. I would say the mediumship is really fun too, but unfortunately, clients don't always get the closure they're seeking.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that's your favorite. What are you strongest at, do you believe?
So my abilities, I'm much more of a psychic than I am a medium, and it's a spectrum. And a lot of times, if you have one, you have the other, but people are more dominant in one or the other. So for myself, I'm much better at just like seeing or knowing things before they're going to happen, or just like knowing things about people. But I do like the mediumship aspect as well. But I would say I'm probably strongest with that. And then with the psychic aspect too, how I view it at least, that's when you're looking at, the past, present, future. So that's why I really like the past life aspect. I like being able to go back in time. Sometimes I do have people asking me things about the future, and I get a lot of like questions about like the housing market or the stock market. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I can't answer those questions.
Right.
There's way too many players at hand.
Right.
But if it's like more fine-tuned, then I can answer it. But I really like that aspect.
Okay. It's interesting.
Are you getting any senses of our futures at all?
I'm not really tapped into that right now.
Okay.
It is kind of like a switch that I can turn on and off. And like if I'm in certain circumstances or like situations, then like it's really shut off.
Sure.
Like if I don't feel really comfortable. Not to say I don't feel
Well, say
comfortable
on a
right
recorded
now.
podcast in front of a bunch of people. Yeah, I could get that.
Yeah, like I feel comfortable with you guys. But yeah, it is also kind of an aspect of like I think a lot of people. I think there's a lot of scams, first of all.
Oh, for sure.
And that's something I have a really big issue with because I hold myself to a really high ethical standard. But I think it's also like a lot of people are curious and like they don't know what to think of it. And like to me, that's okay. But like I don't want to have to try to convince you otherwise.
Sure.
Like if you believe it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting. I'm into this. I like it. So yeah. Well, let's guess. Let's do some guessing, Matt, so we can get to talking about this some more. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Okay, cool. So Madeline, what we do is we rock paper scissors to decide who has to go first. Now, here's what the funny part is: we didn't say anything to you while you guys did the rock paper scissors to see who went first between you and Megan,
But we were analyzing.
because we wanted to see if you're a 3-pumper or a 4-pumper.
Okay.
Are you familiar with what I'm saying?
Yes, we were 3.
You were 3.
You did 4 the first time.
Oh, we did? Okay.
You did. Yeah,
Rock
she
paper
did 3.
scissors. You do rock paper
Okay.
scissors.
Because
Shoot.
I noticed these things.
You did rock paper scissors shoot,
Shoot,
right?
the right way.
Yes.
Okay, and you just do
correct
boom,
way.
boom, boom. See,
Yeah,
that her
the
and I
wrong-
are the same.
the wrong way.
But since
Right.
she's a 4-pumper, you're a 4-pumper. It's a,
Okay.
I don't know if that's news. It's going to hurt you or not, but that's your lot in life, I guess.
It's like, if this is
So is
snarky,
Matt.
it's not supposed to sound to be, but if you could detect if people are 3 or 4 pumpers with your skill set, I think we would pay you
Oh.
to know that in advance.
Okay. I mean, I might be able to.
We talked to Madeline. You're full of shit. You are a 3-pumper.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
I
like
would
the
love
Maury
that.
Povich show. You know? We've got the results back.
We've got the results back.
You're a
and
3-pumper.
You're a 3-pumper.
We're doing 4, right, bud?
Yeah.
Because she's a 4-pumper.
Yeah.
When Megan's on, we're doing 3 because she does it right.
No. We haven't talked about that yet.
All right, we'll get there. Ready?
We'll get there.
Ready?
I'll have a chance to convince you. Damn it! Okay, so I don't.
Name them off, buddy.
Oh yeah, I could do that. We have the Colorado Hotel Foraging Flowers and the Fall Holistic Fair. And all of them are lies. No, I would say I had one that I was feeling, and then it all changed when she told the last story.
Okay.
I think some of that happened, for sure. But I think there are portions that are lies, and I just got this vibe. I don't have any energy abilities or anything like that, but I noticed a couple tells that I didn't see in the other stories.
Yeah.
The looking down, the sort of shiftiness.
Okay.
I believe the Bullhucker is the Fall Holistic Fair.
Really? Okay, don't tell us yet.
Oh,
I would
You
like
guys
to.
stick-
I would like
you
to
guys-
change
you
my
guys
answer
stick with it.
because she
You guys
gave
stick with it.
me.
You guys
I'm
stick with it.
sorry.
No. You get to pick after she told you the answers. BS.
Okay, fine. Pick one of the other 2.
The Colorado Hotel. No.
Don't-
Okay. Foraging. Now she's on to me. Damn it. You know what? Why don't I just take the L so you can feel good? You want me to keep it?
No, go ahead and guess, Ken.
Now I'm going to say Foraging Flowers was the lie.
Okay, you can take that.
Yeah.
I am also going to take Foraging Flowers. For one reason, Madeline, I am big on details that have the least amount of details in it. So that's what I usually pick because it's tough to come up with a lie. It really is.
It is.
It's people lie all the time, but when we ask you to come up with a lie, it's super hard to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I'm going for Foraging Flowers.
And the only reason I'm picking it is because she told me not to pick the one I picked originally. So thank you for that.
And before we pull over our little board here, if you like what you're seeing on the bottom right hand of the corner, there's a little subscribe button, a little red button. Go ahead and click that because it's a tacos.
A big click for all of us here at the podcast.
He almost did it right. It's a small click for you, but a big click for us.
No, this is just a bullshit podcast thingy. Don't click on anything.
He didn't scream tacos. I'm cheesed. So
You know, you said tacos and ruined me trying to say it right.
you always say tacos.
I was going to say it right this time
I
because I
distinctly
care.
remember
I
because I
value
think,
you.
that's the time I want to punch Matt.
I value
It's at
you.
that
I'm
time
like,
I want to punch Matt. So anyway,
Larry's my friend. I guess not.
Matt, let's see your board. Let's see what you got, kid.
all right.
Kid. Look at you, old man.
I am an old man.
Ha
Foraging Flowers.
Yeah, you guys are right.
What was made up?
So I did not fall.
Okay.
I'm very cautious. I never fall.
Yeah.
Thank you for the heads up on that, by the way.
Right,
I'm
right.
back into victory.
But like I said, it's details for me. It's always I've been fooled a few times. Someone's went into great detail in their fib, but
Just go as deep as possible.
that's all right.
I think Dale would be good at that. We'd just get you on a yarn for 2
I'm-
minutes.
I'm Dale's he's a good dude. He's one of those guys that's been he's lived 5 lives, you know. So.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations, Matthew.
Dude, it's good to be back on the leaderboard. Totally undeserved because I cheated, but
You
it
did
feels
cheat.
good. A win's a win. I'll take it.
Madeline, so we have a fair coming up on
Yes.
February 18th
Yes,
Okay.
at the block.
at the block. That's the Old Country Stakeout, by the way. So
For you old people, like Larry said, because Larry discriminates against old people.
I hate old people. Wasn't Hitler like part Jewish? Isn't that the ironic part about it? Like, I hate old people.
I was like, I'm not touching anything Hitler or Jews, no matter what you
just
say.
saying
I respect all people. I love all
I'm
people.
calling a hypocrite thing right now. So anyhow,
A Hitler thing right now.
Anyway,
Per usual.
so on the 18th of February, you're doing. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Megan and I paired up together because we both have like metaphysically businesses, and we saw the opportunity to do this holistic fair in Fort Morgan. I think that there's been a much needed interest in it, and a lot of people have been more drawn to natural remedies, things like that, more spiritual, metaphysical items, whatever it may be. And we do have a few vendors in the area that go to different things like the Brush People's Market, and like Jeanette is there with her crystals, and she'll be at the fair too. And so I think that we came together because we saw this opportunity, and we really also wanted to promote small businesses in the area, but also bring in some new businesses. So we're going to have a lot of businesses like from the Front Range. We've got a few coming from Boulder, from Denver, some from Colorado Springs.
I love that.
So all over. And this will be a really cool opportunity because it will be Fort Morgan's first ever holistic fair.
Very cool.
So we'll have basically something for everyone. We're going to have apothecary items, herbal remedies, jewelry, crystals, metaphysical items, handcrafted products, a bunch of CBD products. And then we're going to have like some loose leaf tea, basically anything like that. We're really trying to target mind, body, spirit wellness, and to make sure that we're promoting that and making a space where people can find healing. They can find, different things that are going to help them on their path and on their journeys.
Right.
And we're also going to be having some readers. So myself and Megan will be reading. So I'm
Nice.
super excited about that. And then we'll also have another tarot reader, and we'll have a Reiki healer too.
Very cool. Is there
Yeah.
any kind of admission you got to pay? Does it cost anything to get in, or is it just
No.
to come check it out?
Yeah,
come
this
check it
is free and open to the public, and we really want this to be an opportunity for everyone who's interested, even if like you don't think you can find something, just to come check it out and just to see what it's all about, because I think that there is a demand for it out here.
Sure.
For alternative healing and for people who are interested in these things, and so this is just a great way to showcase it.
Okay.
Do you have flyers or anything? Like, I would say I'd definitely shout it out at the chamber, put it on our calendar, and help spread the word.
Yeah, definitely. We do have flyers.
Cool.
We've got a Facebook event, and we're doing a lot of different vendor shout outs and highlights leading up to the fair. And then we're doing a lot of different advertising.
Awesome. I will, if you'd like, email my office coordinator and we'll blast it out as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Also on the bullhucker.com under the tab as seen on the Bullhucker. We will have links to that. We'll put a page for you up on the Bullhucker. So you're just asking people to be open-minded, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Come look at something different.
Just to try something new. I think that it's a really good opportunity for people to kind of get outside their comfort zone, or maybe to discover more about themselves.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to resonate with you. And also, it's a great time to do some shopping,
Sure.
things like that.
Right. That's pretty awesome.
Love
Yeah.
it.
How are you usually... what's what I'm looking for. In a smaller area, are people pretty open-minded to this, or do you have to kind of... how am I trying to say this?
Trying to be PC? Just say
I understand what you're
Not trying to
saying.
PC. Are they accepting of this? Are they? Is it something that's needs to catch on more? I'm missing this up.
It's like, is there like a skepticism from
Yes,
people in the
thank you, that's what I'm trying
community
to say.
in relation to these types of methods? And
Yeah.
Do you
maybe not
fight
just here,
that?
but just in general.
So a little bit. I mean, I think that Fort Morgan has been really welcoming to me,
Very
but
cool.
at the same point, I also lead with my more grounded, holistic side than my spiritual side.
Sure.
So I've done a few different workshops, like making an herbal salve, making teas, things like that. I think that those are things that people are definitely open to, but I also think it really depends on the area. But like, I've had multiple people in the area reach out to me for mediumship sessions or tarot readings, things like that. So I think that there's definitely the interest in the community out here. And I do know a lot of women in particular who are, into these type of things. And I think it's just like, there's not really a solid place or community for it. So that's what we're really trying to establish is, a really safe place for people to come explore these things and to talk about it and, to see just where it leads us all.
Awesome.
Very cool. That's very cool. No, it's exciting. So yeah, we're gonna have all this information on the website. Real quick to read off some of the stuff. Tarot readings, yes. Psychic medium readings. You said that. What is the? I couldn't pronounce it either.
The Akashic.
Yes. What is that?
Akashic.
Yeah. So there's lots of different schools of beliefs on that. But the Akashic realm is basically like the library of all records. So a lot of people view it as like the library that keeps all past, present, future history for everyone.
Wow.
So it's a way to tap in and kind of channel, greater knowledge, greater things. If people want to understand, like what is my true purpose in life, things like that, or like what do I really need to know. So there's a lot of different understandings of it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How about reflexology?
Reflexology, yeah. So I don't practice it anymore, but that is also something I went to school for. And so reflexology is essentially a foot massage, but the way that I do it is to bring the body into balance, into harmony. Because when I'm going through someone's foot, I can tell based on the different reflexology points, like what's going on within their body physically, and then also a little bit emotionally and energetically and spiritually too. And mentally too, a little bit sometimes. Like I'll be like, oh, this point is telling me like you're having issues with your kidney or your liver or something, or like, things like that. And it's actually been really cool to see what I've been able to tell about someone.
Interesting.
Through their foot.
I'm like, I can't imagine how depressed you'd find I would be by rubbing on my feet. Like it'd be like, oh wow, Matt's sad. I could tell. Let me touch another spot. Wow, he really is sad. Good Lord.
And that's only at the feet then.
Yeah, it's just the feet, and that's the only time I would ever touch clients.
Interesting.
So I go through both feet because both feet are connected, and they're connected to the organ systems of the body and to the greater systems of the body. And so there's different reflexology and acupressure points. So it's a really good tool for people to relax, to bring balance to the body, or sometimes even like, for some diagnoses or, hints of things that are going on with them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting stuff.
I know. I'm intrigued by everything. Like I said, this is going to be my 4 a.m. Wikipedia session tonight. So.
I'm actually probably going to stop by and check this out too.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're just go out and check it out. February 18th at the Block. Yeah, it's pretty cool. When Matt was telling me, Megan's husband, I work with him, was telling me about this, and I didn't know what holistic. I kind of had like a basic idea, but last night they were asking me. I don't know what happened to Rob. Was supposed to come in. Well, explain the holistic to me. I'm like, well, come in tomorrow. They can explain it to you. I will mess it up. Ask me what Reiki is. I'll tell you how bad I can screw this up. So, anyway, Madeline, Hagen, thank you so much for coming in.
Yes, thank you.
This has been a fun one. It's been a very interesting one.
This one is the one where I would say I had even less expertise on this one than I did with the wrestling one, and learned way more than I planned to learn. It's awesome.
And he did look at you to this. He did it a few times that day. Yeah. He started. Yeah, and they laughed. Said that's cute. That's precious.
They did.
Also, we want to thank the Brush Emporium for letting us come down here.
Thank you, Brush Emporium.
You can check them out on the description below. They have a Facebook right now. They, as you can see, they're starting to move some stuff around here, starting to paint and get everything ready to roll. And
look at all the bricks they laid.
Yeah, all the bricks they laid, and the floors will be done tomorrow. So it's kind of fun for the podcast we've done out here to watch them actually go in levels and see how they've progressed over time. So pretty exciting stuff for them. So
absolutely,
when they open, make sure you check them out. Yeah, maybe they'll have a holistic. They're going to do what they're doing here is they're sectioning it off for people that don't have a brick and mortar business, but have a business. So it'll be a bunch of little businesses in here. They're going to serve pizza and ice cream. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a holistic one, right?
Expand in,
yeah, definitely.
Well,
I like it.
Two you talk to are sitting over the table, so you pick their brain about. So anyway,
also before you go, I got to talk to you and Kyle about hot sauce at some point because I need more hot sauce so bad. It's so good.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, definitely.
They make ballin' hot sauce, dude. Just the Tip is the name of the brand. It's so good.
No, it's not.
Yes.
It really is. It's
Just
so
the Tip hot
freaking good.
sauce.
I bought a case of it last year and gave them out to friends and family as gifts because I'm like, you got to try this shit. It's
Is
so
it
good.
super hot?
It depends on the flavor.
Yeah.
I can't handle a lot of heat, but he's got a lot of good flavors.
It's solid.
Yeah, I don't do hot sauce.
No, it's not. It's like I would say the one that I usually get is more like mild, but what I like about it, instead of a vinegar base, it's more like schmear and a little thicker.
Yeah, it's got a nice texture. I would recommend the margarita for you if you can't do a lot of heat. That's my favorite one. It's got a lot of nice sweetness to it too.
All right. We're going to have that on February 18th?
So this isn't really a food event, the holistic fair.
Like Larry's out. There's no hot sauce.
I'm sorry. Yeah, two businesses, same person.
I got you.
But yeah, I can definitely talk to you about where to get it and everything.
What you could do is hire Matt to sit outside by the trash bin like a drug deal.
I will.
And be
I'll
like,
sell the shit out of that
"Some
hot sauce. It's so good. I've given it to so many people at this point. So
Yeah.
I was thinking about it today before I came in. I'm like, I gotta get some more hot sauce. So
If I get the 401 on the hot sauce, I'll let you know where you can get it. So anyway, I'm Moose Lundstrom.
I'm Matt Gordon.
Madeline Hagen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye.